Hello, everyone, and welcome to SAFC Fan TV. We've got me and Mike here. Mike back again. How's your day?
Not bad. It's my day I go in the office, so it's a 8-hour day plus a 2.5-hour commute each way.
Sounds delightful, actually.
Fun and games.
Thankfully, it was my only half a day at work there, just because the shifts work out, so I didn't have to go in till midday. So it wasn't too bad, really. Not too bad there.
Good stuff.
For something of an extra time that we do here, we actually have there's some news to talk about. It seems like in terms of
no spoilers. No spoilers.
Exactly. We'll get to that second or third or maybe fourth. No one keep actual score because I don't want you to. So we'll quickly touch on Middlesbrough again, just because when you win a massive derby that it is, it's always good to discuss the game again. So
now that Philly's not here, policing us, we can call it the derby that it is.
The A19 derby, I think Jacob named it last week on time. Yeah. So I mean, now that the dust has settled and all the fans that you might have known or fan that you might have known has gone back into their box, how do you feel after that game and that display?
It's actually been wonderful to go to work today because my boss is a Middlesbrough fan and one of my colleagues is a Newcastle fan. And I was like, there was one North East team that got 3 points this week and I can't think who it was.
It was Darlington.
So it's been a lovely week. And I honestly thought it would be a higher scoring game than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Never comfortable as a Sunderland fan at 1-0. Especially when that one is like 20 odd minutes in. And it's like, that's, the rest of the time, just like.
Yeah. And I know what you were saying because you thought there was going to be goals in it. I think your prediction was 3-0, I want to say. I think you had for that game.
Yeah. Half as optimistic as the time before.
Yeah, exactly. And look what happened there when we conceded 3. One of them was us, though, so that one doesn't count. No. I know what you mean. I thought there was going to be goals, but I mean, in the history of Sunderland, sitting back on a 1-0 winning scoreline at the time is never a good thing when you see it. But I don't know, it feels a bit different under Labrie. I think he seems to organise them better.
Yeah, it feels like an achievement because it's not something we'd have ever done. And even though it is nerve-wracking when it's only 1-0, we looked fairly comfortable with it. Yeah.
I know I got a bit of stick for saying that I didn't think Middlesbrough were very, very good and didn't really go for it. I was speaking to a friend of mine last night at 5-a-side because he's a Sunderland fan as well. And he was. We were talking about the moment from kickoff. I don't know if you've seen it, where Borough took the initial kickoff in the first half, passed it back to Edmondson, and he just stood on the ball and just didn't do it. And we just didn't move. We just stood in our half and went, "Go on then." And he stood on the ball for a good 30 seconds to a minute. And it's a bit like, you've got nothing. If we're not coming out after you, you've got no second, no backup plan. And then that featured into later on in the game where normally the nerves would start to kick in around 60, 70 minutes going, oh God, here they come. They're going to...
Yeah, and we'd have backs against walls and we'd be defending every cross coming in.
Yeah.
Letting them go at us.
But there was no crosses. There was no through balls. There was no insightful runs. They just passed it round us, like back and forth, just around the outside of our block, as it were, I guess.
My Middlesbrough fan boss assures me they'll make a good run towards the end of the season, as usual. I said, only if you change your manager. I said, he's got you playing possession football, even when you're losing, with no outlet.
There's always that joke that Coventry and Middlesbrough would storm this league if they realised it started in August, not November. It's just true. Every year, watch them. They'll pick up and they'll fly in the sort of second half of the season. But you're sitting there going, imagine if you'd have just started a month earlier.
That used to be us with every game. Take 45 minutes to start.
Although there was the awful season that we try not to mention as much as we can. The one where we got relegated from the Championship to League One, where we'd have a good 10, 15 minutes and then just lose every game. At least the other one, we start all right at the end and maybe scrape something out of it rather than, oh, look, we might win this one. Oh, we're 1-0 down, it's over.
I think we've got the best squad right now that we've had in the last 10 years.
Probably. I mean, that does include one of our Premier League seasons, mind.
But even
Defoe.
then, I think with the potential and the youth, and I know we've had great players amongst mediocre players, amongst championship players trying to be in the Premier League. This is the first time I've seen a full team, and there's nobody that I think is the weak link.
Yeah, I could see that on there. I will say, I think I'm counting back years now, but Sam Allardyce's team is within that decade, and you're sitting there going, so Pantilimon or Manone, all right. Billy Jones, I'll give you that one. And then, but yeah, the back at that time, you had Kabul and Kone in his prime, 6 months, I will say. Yeah,
but towards the latter part.
I'm not counting the David Moyes year. I'm going into Sam Allardyce's years, and then he had Van Aanholt, Kirchhoff, Mvia, Catamol, Kazri, Barini, Defoe.
Catamol's never been a Premier League player.
Yes,
and I love him to bits, but he's never been a Premier League player. Can you imagine Catamol with VAR?
Oh,
Jesus Christ. He'd never be on the pitch.
They were doing VAR with him anyway. You see a player on the floor, Catamol stood next to him, it was a yellow card. The ref just saw it in his head again. Went, oh yeah, must be a foul. Must be a yellow card. He's on the deck.
Colback's unconscious and Catamol's running that way.
That was the only one he never got a yellow card for. And it wasn't, but it was that was the actual one where the ref went, fair play. Yeah, no bother. No, I was the same as you. Just I didn't want us to sit too far back. But in the two games where we've only had a slight margin for winning in Burnley and Middlesbrough, I think we've done very well at holding out and what's the word, not squandering, but subduing their threats and sort of not letting them get at us or have constant shots or build up momentum.
We just generally are doing less stupid, ridiculous mistakes, right? Because we all seen that in every Sunderland game, right? You see something ridiculous that's yeah, all right, well, the terrible passing, can't string it 5 yards and stuff like that. And it just seems to have Labry's tidied all that up loads.
Yeah, definitely has. Did you see the club put out, was it a 3-minute video of just Joe Bellingham's highlights for the game? Just for look at this boy.
Nice.
Didn't even need to mention Rig. They were just look at this lad.
They're just putting that price tag up and up and
up. Yeah, exactly. Well, if it works.
The club's now doing its own YouTube highlight reels.
Yeah. I watched back Mundell's free kick again, and the amount of other comments I saw on social media on ours that were just God, it was like that Richardson moment all over again, just a foot to the right, and it would have been I was right back in that moment.
It was a bullet, and do you know what I like about Mundell is we knew he had potential from last season. Both me and you were calling for him to be put on the pitch when he wasn't. But the confidence he's got as well. For such a new player, he's not tentative or worried about taking a shot. He's going for it every time.
Yeah. He trusts his ability, doesn't he? He clearly is sort of confident in what he can do. I mean, his goal against Burnley and his goal against Plymouth are pretty much identical, really. Cut back and fire it low into the bottom corner. Then you've got his one against Portsmouth where he thinks, I know I'll go on my left this time. And then he's got a free kick on him as well now we've established, or at least from close range. He didn't go up and over the wall, but he's got a decent shot on him from distance then.
Yeah, definitely. He's potentially one of our very, very good players. So hopefully we can keep hold of him. Before we go off Middlesbrough, you've got a tidbit from Middlesbrough, haven't you?
So I saw it on social, so apologies if someone else has seen this and thinks I put that on there. So 19 years ago today, this is the Wednesday we're recording on. So 19 years ago yesterday, for the people watching or listening on Thursday, and you can do your own maths if you're listening to it later than that, we played Middlesbrough at the Riverside in the Premier League season that we don't really like to talk about, with 15 points in it. And I just want to draw your attention. If you're on Spotify, I'm sorry, you're going to have to come back and watch it on YouTube at some point for this bit. But the timing is 10 minutes in. You'll find it. Uploaded a picture now on the screen of Nyron Nosworthy, our right back for the day. We are at 89 minutes in the game.
Legend.
He's on the halfway line at the Riverside, right next to the dugout. He's got the ball on his left foot. All our defenders are there. No real pressure on him. A player's closing him down, but he's all right. And he's looking to pass it back to our goalkeeper, which at the time I believe was Kelvin Davis. Do you know what happened next, Mike?
I've seen the spoilers.
Oh,
You
right,
go for it.
So, Nyron Nosworthy was trying to pass it back to our goalkeeper, so he needs to put a bit of swerve on it to get it back. However, next image is loaded up. It went straight as a die and out for a corner to Middlesbrough. So from our own halfway line, he smashed that ball 50 yards or so, straight as a die, right by the corner flag and out for a corner. And the reason this is so funny, one, just because we were 2-0 up and we still won the game anyway, is because of Mick McCarthy's legendary reaction of staring at him when it happened. Honestly, I remember
McCarthy.
I remember it at the time, watching that game and just being like, I don't quite understand what's happened. And the camera just caught that moment perfectly where he just stares at him like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I don't even think if you had no pressure on you, I could kick the ball 50 yards in the dead straight line.
Oh, yeah, if that was
Perfect.
an attacking kick forward, he wouldn't have got that.
Yeah, exactly. If he was trying, like, when they do those 50-yard crossfield balls now or something over on the winger. But Nosworthy was ahead of his time. And that's why for me, Nosworthy will always be an absolute legend, and any of my best 11s of all times because of
great
what
big picture of him on them that stairwell going up to the bar.
That's what we need. Yeah. Just need him. We need Nosworthy's bar next, not Quinn's. Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up there. I will just mention as well, I like to bring it up at this moment because I'm currently winning it. But yes, you had 3-0. In the predictions against Middlesbrough. I think I had 2-0. I'll put the league table up here so you can see I am still top. You get 2 points for getting the not the result, but the correct winner, I suppose. So we had Sunderland, so you get 2 points. But Terry and Wayne both had Sunderland 1-0. So they have moved up in the table, and Philly has been knocked down.
Can we forget about this and look at the fantasy football Premier League table we've got where I'm top?
No. Not allowed there.
Not just top and clear by 50 odd points.
Yeah. Well, sorry, you had Haaland from week 1 and I drafted him in on week 4.
Who makes a fantasy team without Haaland? Anyway, let's not talk about that.
It was one of those ones I was trying to be clever and go like, I know Solanke, Watkins and Isak, and then after a game or two I was like, that's just stupid. Like, just pick Haaland, it's the same thing.
Showing your true colours there. My team has no magpies in.
Yeah, your team's even called No Mags Allowed, I believe.
It is. Loyalty.
So,
and it's got me top of the league. There we go. So anyway,
so far, we're 5 games in. 5 games in. Calm down. Anyway.
We have news, and I'm not sure how I feel about the news.
Okay.
Because so far, Speakman's done a decent job of signings. But Aaron Connolly is an interesting choice.
He is.
What's your thoughts on it?
So, I remember a few years ago when he actually broke through at Brighton and thought, oh, they've actually got a decent player on their hands here. He looked decent. I think he scored on his debut. I might have scored in his first couple of games for them. And I thought, decent. Then he dropped down to Middlesbrough, and I don't think it did so well. And a couple of my friends said, I don't want to say they were unpleasant about him, but they just sort of said it never really worked out for him.
No, I think two goals in 19 league games for Middlesbrough.
Yeah. I think he had an okay-ish time at Hull, I want to say, last year. Was it last year he was at Hull? He got more than 2 anyway.
8 goals. It's not exactly a prolific striker.
It's better than 2 in 9, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 in 29 or whatever it was.
So, he seemed to have a much more illustrious youth career than he's had senior so far. If you take all of the times he's played centre forward, because guess what? He's another player that's played left wing, second striker, right wing, attacking midfield. He's another Isidore all rounder. But centre forward, 120 games, 50 goals, 5 assists.
Okay.
So it's almost 1 in
2.5. Yeah. So it's not. On a free, I'm not going to moan at it. I know we had a moan last year at someone else on a free with 15k a week called Bradley Dack, who you weren't very impressed with. So I'm hoping this is not your new Bradley Dack hatred one. I think he's been brought in as a similar role to what Geldhart did for us, in the sort of soldiery bully striker.
Yeah,
because he was quite, even though he's quite small, I think he's quite a physical player. And if he could push over a defender again when celebrating a goal like Geldhart did, then I'm all for it. That's actually what I want. I did think as well, is he a backup to Roberts? Because Barr has seemingly dropped off the face of the earth, or he's out on loan and I just have missed it completely. And Poveda has played 10 minutes Portsmouth, and then he's always out on the injury table trying to be in the reserve games and that. I wonder if this is them going, well, actually, it's a second striker or a third striker or a fourth, if you count in the other ones as well. And he can play on the right side.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced.
I don't think it's a bad one for owners, for like Labrie to try and work on. And it was a 1-year deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, it's only 2 years ago he was rated a £7 million player. So there must have been something there. You know what I mean?
Richard was once a £10 million player, and we had him for 2 and a bit years.
Yeah, Pritchard was good, though.
Well...
I mean, he's ranked 27th among all players from Ireland. So,
current or in general?
In current, apparently.
Okay. I was about to say, wow, that's pretty high if you're going all time.
So yeah, he's dropped in value, but it could be a case of he's never found the right team.
So another way of saying that, he's on the fringes of the squad.
Yeah, I think he is an international player. He's got his caps and stuff like that, but yeah, he's not a prolific goal scorer at the moment.
I think it's fine on a 1 year.
9 caps for Ireland, 0 goals. But I mean, that's just because it's Ireland, right?
Yeah, probably. Also, I think they count caps as even if he came off the bench for cameo games instead of starts and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he started any of those necessarily. Who is their striker at the minute at Ireland anyway? Who played us the other day?
I don't know.
Someone else that wants to be English, I imagine, like Rice and Grealish.
Yeah. I mean, is he signed as a backup?
I think he signed as an option. I wouldn't necessarily say a backup. The reason Dak was a backup was because he was so injured all the time and was actually pretty crap, as you rightfully pointed out quite early on.
Called it.
Yeah, nailed it. I don't know. I don't think he's a starter, because why would we waste our time and effort into him when we could do that with Mayenda? We could do that with.
But why would you sign a backup at this stage for only a 1-year contract when you've got Rusin and you've got backup strikers?
Rusin can go, man. Like Rusin can just leave. Like, just it didn't work out. You're not part of the plans, and you're not getting ahead of Isidore or Mayenda.
Well, Isidore keeps coming on the wing, which is annoying.
I thought he was. Did you see him in his like cameo against Borough? I thought he was really good defensively. Helped out the team. I didn't actually see him get to go forward, unfortunately, but he actually was like really good at tracking back and clearing his lines, which is another bonus for us as well.
True. Just looking at them stats I was on about before for Connolly, I've just noticed there he had a season in Premier League 2, 35 games, 25 goals.
So
that's not bad.
He knows where the net is.
Is it just because he's been with Brighton and Middlesbrough? I mean, that's good. Signing for Middlesbrough's got to dampen anyone's spirits, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And this is a Middlesbrough, what, two years ago?
Yeah.
Was that pre-Carrick, potentially?
Yeah, gotta be, isn't it?
So that's, that and they weren't doing very well there. Didn't they have Wilder for a bit and they were struggling down the bottom? I don't really know my Middlesbrough history, if I'm being honest.
Nah, tracksuits.
I know they've been in there for a long time. Tracksuits, yeah. All right, Top Gear. I remember when Top Gear went through Middlesbrough. Actually, I was at Teesside Uni, and they were a bit like, you can come down as long as you. They were trying to advertise for students to go along, but they went, you can only come down if you're wearing a tracksuit. 'Cause it's a gag that they want to do.
Nice.
That everybody was just in tracksuits and that. Yeah. I don't know. I hope it works out. As I hope it works out with all our signings. And I mean, we can't say they haven't bought a striker, but I think everyone still wanted dedicated, I only score goals striker, don't care about the rest. Whereas what we'd seem to have got is we had a youngster, we had Rusin, and now we've got lots of other floaty attackers that can play anywhere across the front line.
Floaty attackers. Well, this is,
a team full of Arsene Wenger number 10s,
Two up front.
I know. Although, Mundell plays pretty far forward, but do you see he's tracking back against Borough, just to go back to it again there? It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just all that. If Obi doesn't get burnt out, that's what we've got to avoid. What happened last year to Job.
I feel like till I know what Aaron Connolly's wages are, I'm not going to judge him. If we're paying him the same as Dak, I'm going to headsel roll.
Just we'll call it the money that we saved on Mayenda. That's what Mendy.
Yeah. I mean, he's 24, so for our team, he's a senior player.
True. Watford away. Saturday, 3:00, live stream, SAFC Fan TV. We'll both be there. Woo! What about the game? Watford had a bit of a flying start, if you're a fan of your Morrison's breakfasts, to the season, and it seems to have gone a bit flat.
Very flat. Yeah. They got annihilated by Norwich. However, 2-1 to City in the Cup is a good result for Watford.
Did you see one of the goals they conceded?
No.
They were passing it round the back. The goalkeeper to the defender, really short ball back. City player stole it and tapped it across the box to somebody else to tap in. It's like playing out from the back when you're no good at it. Thing.
You don't play out for the back when you're against a superior opposition like a Premier League team. It's
like insane. Yeah. Are you listening, Michael Beale? Don't do that. Jesus. Hey, look, this is one of the highest pressing teams in Europe. Play out from the back, lads. No, launch it as far away as you can.
I'll only say this once. In Beale's defence,
I don't really care what comes up next, but go on.
Patterson's kicking shit.
Well, yeah. Have you seen? Actually, I keep noticing this when we do a stream. We'll probably talk about it a bit more on Saturday. Have you noticed that every time Patterson gets the ball, it's what's out left, right? No, cut back, what's out right. It's never like just long ball aim. Every time they're like, open yourself out and pass it the other side. Wherever it came from, you're going back the other way. You just conjure it for moving it.
Needs to start hoofing it high through the middle. You've got players like Job there, who's got some height, who can get a head on it, can get a knock on. I don't see why we're not doing that.
Did he? I think Job. That's how our goal came about, though. I think he did a ball forward. Job won a header. Mundell broke, and that's how we scored.
Yeah, exactly.
It does work.
It does work. So stop trying to find Jack Clark. He's not there anymore.
Yeah, I think they've clearly said to him, there are short passes available, which is fine. Like when Job came deep for one of the teams, and he did that thing where he sent them to the shops and just turned around with the ball. I can't remember which game that was earlier on in the season, where he just, dropped the shoulder and just turned around. It might have been Portsmouth, I think. Yeah. But I think they've clearly told him, right, if your kicking's limited, let's just get you out. Free option on the side, move on. Free option on the side, move on. Hide his weaknesses, which isn't a bad idea. It's smart anyway. If you've got weaknesses, you don't want to just expose yourself completely.
Just teach him how to fucking kick a ball.
Not everyone can be Jordan Pickford.
He's having a terrible time. I wish I hadn't picked him in the fantasy team.
Well, I think that's Everton's fault, not him. Anyway, we started about Watford. What are your thoughts for the Watford game?
Sunderland have failed to win any of their 6 away league games against Watford this century. 4 draws, and 2 losses.
I will say one of those draws we were absolutely robbed. So the year that Newcastle got relegated when we had Allardyce, we went down there and I'm pretty sure both their goals were absolute bullshit. And yet we were like, I remember sitting there going, I'm so glad that the Newcastle got relegated on bloody Wednesday, because if not, the referees are screwing us here, because at the time Newcastle would have beaten Tottenham 5-1 even though they're already down, and we would have been drawing, which would have narrowed the gap with us. And it's like, thank God we were already across the line, because you were trying to ruin it for us. Jermaine Lens scored on that day as well.
Oh, I like Lens. Lens.
Good player.
But, I mean, the way we're playing and the form they're in, we should win. But yet again, don't count Sunderland doing a Sunderland.
Yes, exactly. It can always happen. It can crop up at any opportunity.
But that's an interesting fact. Like a century, that's a long time.
It's weird that we've only played there 6 times in that time.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? But yeah, we've... So
you sure it wasn't this century?
I don't know. I read it.
It sounds like it would be a this century type thing.
Potentially, but
yeah,
century.
Because
it sounded good.
Yeah. Well, I know we beat them. I'm trying to think in like '99 where Philip scored a worldie at the Stadium of Light for us in one of the first games back in the Premier League under Reed. So I don't know what the result would have been in the turnaround in the '99-2000 season.
I don't know. It was on about the league. So anyway.
Fair enough. That was the league. What are you on about?
Check me. Don't fact check me.
Well, I'll just do some Googling while I'm here. Anyway, well, I mean, the last one I remember against Watford away was the Bennett equaliser.
Oh, yeah. Deal.
Did we play Watford last year? We must have done. They hadn't gone up or down.
I'm not sure.
Watford. Oh, yes. We did a stream on it. It was Luke O'Nine's handball.
Oh, was it the hand of 09?
Yeah, when he just jumped and just sort of swiped it out of the air on the halfway line. I think we lost 1-0 as we lost most games towards the end of last season. But yeah, that was the Luke O'Nine hand of God moment.
Yeah, no surprise at the results.
No. I'm a bit go on.
Like, they're set up very differently each time. So I've looked at a couple of the games that they've had. And obviously they went 5 at the back against City, which, really worked out well for them. Yeah. But generally, they've kind of had that with the wing backs. So they've had 5 or 3 and 5, So like we used to do with the one up front. What do you think of their setup? Because it looks very defensive against all their games.
Are they? I know the narrative at the moment is look at Arsenal defending all the time, which is a complete joke. You have 10 men at the Etihad, of course you're going to defend. But I don't think Watford are like thinking, oh, we'll just out-defend everybody and counter. Or maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're playing the counter-attack and sort of soaking up pressure and then breaking out, because the first game of the season was a 3-2 away at Millwall, I want to say. Something like that. And I think they seemingly played quite well, and I imagine they were playing a very similar setup against Millwall.
Yeah. I just don't think we're going to fare well against a really defensive team.
No, but that's been not just a this management sort of issue. That's been a thing for years, that Sunderland struggle to break down teams that just don't give anything and just sit down and lock down for the game. I mean, there's been years and years at the Stadium of Light where teams just come up here and play for a point and we just can't break them down.
Yeah. Anyone scare you on the Watford squad?
I couldn't tell you a single player on the Watford squad.
Of course you could. Tom Ince is still there.
Is he?
Yeah.
Jeez. Well then, no. No. I'm at the risk of him scoring against us. No, I wouldn't say so.
The only reason I know that one player is because I signed him on Football Manager for Sunderland, and he was a cracking defender. He was called Ryan Porteous. He was a Scottish player, and he was about 9'6" or whatever he is.
Let's have a look. I know the goalie, and then Matty Pollock, James Morris, and this. Apart from that, Daniel Jebison. I know we got linked with him earlier on in the season. He's on loan from Bournemouth, striker, and then on the bench. Oh, Jonathan Bond, you are so close. Tom Ince didn't even come on for them in the last game. And then they've got Agbonna. I think, is that the one that used to be at West Ham? He's on the bench for them.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, my prediction was 4-0 win for Sunderland. I mean, I went straight in there because I just don't think... As long as we can break down their defence and, like, Mundell can get in behind, I think it's going to be all us. I can't see them getting in many attacks in. But...
No.
What do we do defensively?
Don't rule out Sunderland doing a Sunderland.
Yeah, but does Ballard come back?
Oh, I see. I thought you were looking for like a catchphrase. I don't know. I probably wouldn't throw him back in, but this is because I'm not... this isn't me sort of going, I think he's, a bit rash sometimes and a bit this. I genuinely think Meppen had a really good game against Middlesbrough, and I don't just want to drop him out of it. And I think 09's been class this season, so I don't want to change the winning setup, and I want to give him
Did you think at the start of the season you'd
better.
Want Ballard not in a team?
No. But I mean, my ideal still is, Hume/Huggins and then Ballard, Elise and Sirkin. That's still the ideal. But unfortunately, one of them's made of glass and the other one's made of glass, but not to the same scale as the Elise, shall we say.
I like Meffin. I think he's a presence and I think he's a proper centre-back. But I'd like to see him alongside Ballard, which is a bit shitty on 09.
Or him and Elise would be great as well.
Yeah, when he's...
For the 2 games that he could probably last. We'll see him in January for 2 and then I'll be out.
What's your predictions for this one?
Oh, I think, did I go 2-0? Let me have a look. I'll just double check in. No, I went for a Philly special and went for 3-1.
3-1.
And you went for 4-0.
I went for 4-0. And we could go top, but...
You could. West Brom play later or something.
Well, West Brom play Chef Wed, who are third from bottom with no wins, with one win.
So Matt just getting 7 in 7, basically.
Looks like it.
I thought Chef Wood would be all right at the end of last season after Danny Roll got him fired up and that, but it seems like that sort of all the wheels are coming off there a little bit.
The table's all strange. I didn't expect Stoke to be so far down. I expected Plymouth to be down there, but
yeah, that's the Rooney factor.
Yeah, Burnley haven't had the greatest start technically.
Luton haven't done that well either.
I thought they'd walk it, Burnley.
But Burnley, Sheffield United and Luton have all not been fantastic. Really, the only 2 that have actually been fantastic is probably West Brom and Duz. Yeah. And even we had a blip against Plymouth. Yeah. No, I'm hoping we go down and I hope we can set your pretend record straight and get a win at... what was it called? Vicarage Road. I was going to call it the Hawthorns, but it's definitely not the Hawthorns. It's Vicarage Road. And I know Jacob wanted us to try and get in as many Elton John quotes tonight as we could, but I honestly couldn't think how to shoehorn in. I guess that's why they call it the Blues or Rocket Man.
Yeah, and it is this century. I've just reread the article.
Yeah, cool. I thought it would be. It's a long time to... The bit that weirded me out about the stat was... We've only played them 6 times in a century.
But you accepted it straight away.
I did, and then I went, that doesn't sound right. Like 6 times in
6
a century.
Times this century.
Yeah.
There you go. So 24 years.
That makes more sense because we've both been up and down divisions.
That's still 24 years. That's still 24 years.
Oh, yeah. But then you say 6 times, you sort of go, oh, fair enough. You're not in the same division all the time. So you sort of go, oh, fair enough. That's what, 1 in 4 you're playing them?
Yeah, well...
Do you think when we were in the Premier League for 10 years, they weren't, or they had a spell every now and again, and they've been up in Championship and Premier League while we've been down Championship and League One? It's a bit like Fulham and Norwich. You just keep missing each other.
Yeah. Yeah, well, next year we'll be in the Premier League, so it won't matter.
Exactly, and we won't have to play Watford again. Or Middlesbrough. Just throwing it out there. Or Plymouth. Just throwing that one there as well. Enjoy your 3 points while they lasted. No, I'm hoping I'm hoping it's going to be good. The defence, I would keep the same if you can. Patterson, Hume, Mepin, 09 and Sirkin. I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change the three in the middle. I do think Dan Neil was fine against Middlesbrough, but I didn't see a lot of him. He was like the one that I didn't notice until every now and again I went, oh yeah, Dan Neil's playing. But if Brown is still a bit injured, I could understand them sticking with Dan Neil. And I think the front three picks itself at the moment. I think Mayenda he's not a prolific goal scorer, but he's helping the team. It's a bit like Geldhart, like when he wasn't scoring, but he was actually contributing to us.
It doesn't work with your only striker on the pitch. It doesn't work. You need a goal-scoring striker. Drop him, start
So
Isidore.
would you say you're going to say start Isidore?
Yep. Start Isidore. Isidore hat-trick for my 4-0 win.
Who's getting the other one, just out of interest?
Doesn't matter. Isidore. Oh.
No, I actually want to predict who's getting the other one.
Who's getting the Meffin?
I was going to say Mundle. I was going to try and go, Mundle, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, head over. Roberts swings it in. So Roberts goes another game without scoring, basically.
Roberts will hit every post and the crossbar and knock the keeper out.
Do you remember when Richardson did that for us? We played Fulham away at Craven Cottage. He had a free kick disallowed, and then he had another free kick that hit one post, rolled across the line, hit the other, and then rolled back again before the keeper sort of got it. It's one of those ones that's like...
That's the look Roberts is having this season.
Yeah. I know. Well, hopefully he can finally get one on here. Let's say 3-1 for me. I want a different goal scorer in all of them, so I'd like Mundle, Roberts, and then I'd like Mayenda to get another one, just because it keeps his confidence going that he does get one.
Yeah, it just feels like it's a long time since he scored them, and you were hoping when he got them that would be the kick to start scoring all the time. But he's still...
Don't forget, one was going in against Portsmouth.
Right. Listen, it's not about his shooting ability, his movement, or anything like that. It's the intelligence of a striker. It's his positioning. The amount of times Mundle or Roberts has got it across the face of goal, and he's been the wrong side of the defender instead of cutting in ball side. That he could have had so many tap-ins, it's unreal. And that's just a lack of experience.
I actually thought his best game for us this season was Portsmouth away, where he was his most complete performance without scoring. Because if you think he was the one who got on the wrong side of the defender and caused them an issue in the first period, he took the shot that have led to their error, scoring in their own goal. He pretty much scored the second goal before Brown followed it in, and he set up Mundle for the other one. I think Portsmouth was his best performance in a Sunderland shirt. When I saw him live when we played Burnley, I actually thought a couple of times, I was like, why aren't you shooting? Every time you're getting it, you're shaping up looking for somebody else, and at no point are you shaping thinking, I should hit this. I should have a go, which is what he did against Sheffield Wednesday. The ball broke to him, 20, 30 yards from goal. His first thought was turn and shoot. Nothing about it. And the one from Clark is, you're not going to turn and shoot from the, 6-yard box when the keeper's already on the deck. Yeah.
Do we know anything about this Abdullah? What's he called?
Abdullahi or Abdullahi?
Abdullahi, yeah. Is he fit? Is he going to get a game at any point?
I've seen him in some images of him training. I don't know if that was just he's, in and around, he's wearing the gear. I saw him do an interview the other day, and he went, I always liked playing FIFA, and I knew of Sunderland, and I used to play with them because one of my idols is Jermaine Defoe. So he went, I love the way he plays. So he went, I always picked Sunderland because of him. And then he went, when I heard that Sunderland were one of the teams interested in me, I was like, I can't turn this down. So he said the right things to get us on side with that there as well.
Mean, it feels like he could be that diamond in the rough, because his previous season in the league, it was First National. I don't know what the caliber is, but 28 appearances, 21 goals. He's got the best stats out of all of them so far.
Yeah. Well, don't forget we brought 4 strikers in last year who all had decent stats somewhere and decent records, whether it be, like you said, like Connolly, like Premier League 2 or, second, third tier divisions and stuff. When we were looking at Mendy, he was a second tier striker in France. It wasn't like he was a top division one.
Yeah, but I just feel like
It's if it translates to our style of play, and I do think we're better at looking at our transfers for how a player will fit into our team rather than just going, he plays in that position, let's get him.
I think we should just be circling. If we insist on playing one up front, we should be rotating these strikers week in, week out until somebody hits.
Yeah. I still think we're looking to replace Ross Stewart a year and a half after we got rid of him, just because. And I'm still going to say it. Ross Stewart actually fit this system perfectly.
Yeah,
like not a target man, but just a big man who knew to bring in the rest, but also just had that.
That's
that
why
sort of like Darren Bent knack.
Isidore has the most potential. I think he knows where to go for a header.
I hope so. Apart from the one he ballsed up at Plymouth.
Yeah, but he's still got his head to it. It's more than Meander does. Meander was being tying his shoelace.
Meander's 4 foot tall. No wonder he doesn't get his head on the end of anything. I bet he was secretly like, "Oh, well done, Chris Rigg, you bastard! If it had just been a foot to the right, I'd have nicked your goal."
Yeah,
just shout out Chris Rigg for the amazing back heel again against Middlesbrough. Beautiful. Gonna have to go watch Giles' vlog again just to see the best reaction from it. So what we'll do is we'll wrap it up there because we have our live stream on Saturday, which we hope you can all join us for. Sunderland and Watford, 3 o'clock. We'll probably be live about 2:45, I want to say, getting you set for the game. Hopefully we'll be in a sort of similar time zone to actually both commentate on the game and one of us isn't 4 minutes behind the other one or without a stream or anything. I know Philly said we would do a live draw. We haven't got it ready today. Plus, I think it'd be good to do it at halftime. Halftime draw.
Halftime draw. So this is your last chance to become a member to get in that halftime draw. Yeah,
exactly. So if you can become a member between now and Saturday, you'll be entered into the draw to win. It was this shirt here? Yes. Sunderland, I think they wore that 05 to 07, our lovely Lonsdale and Reg Vardy one there. So an awful relegation season, followed by Roy Keane's promotion winning stint in that shirt there.
And it's a 2XL for our more people who like a more flowy top.
Yeah, exactly. Or for the winter months when you put it over your big coat.
There you go.
When you go to the match there, so perfect.
Used to go to Roker Park with me jumper under my shirt. I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Christmas jumper under the Sunderland shirt.
So if you want to be in with a chance of winning that, you just have to become a member. We'll have a look on Friday night, Saturday morning, and we'll get you entered into the draw so that at half time we can do the draw and see who wins the shirt. I don't know if was it someone called Bill won the other day? I can't remember his name now, but I don't know if he's got in touch with Philly yet about the Toff shirt that he won as well. So there seems to be a draw every week, it seems.
And we will add you to the draw, even if your name is Las Palmas Mackham.
Oh, yes, we were meant to bring that up. So if you're still watching at this time and you're not just still fuming with us, we realised, Las Palmas Mackham, that yes, you weren't in that list on there. So Philly has asked us to apologise on behalf of that one there and said, I think you can have 2 entries into the next spin. So just because you missed out on the last one. So apologies. First commenter, as always, Las Palmas Mackham. So
wasn't us.
No,
Philly's getting
wasn't
old.
Us. It will be on Saturday. If anyone's missing from the list, it will be our fault. I think we'll leave it there. We've done 45 minutes. It's fine. I don't know which way we are now. I'm just going to that way. Do you want to say your goodbyes, Mike?
Yep. Don't forget to join us for the live stream for the game and just come and join in the chat and the banter. Even if you're watching the game, it's good to have us on in the background and tell us your thoughts. Become a member, chance to win the shirt, all that lovely stuff. Like, subscribe, tell somebody else about the channel who doesn't know about it, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Very good. Yeah, echo exactly what Mike has said there. Couldn't really sign it off any better than that, so I won't bother. But just one last look at Mick McCarthy's face. Complete shock about the pass he saw just before we... Perfect. That's exactly what it is. Now try and track Nosworthy like he's running back to get back in the box. Like, what the bloody hell's he doing? Right, apologies for the audio listeners. Oh yeah, when he jumps for no reason. Oh, go and watch Mick McCarthy bits. It's amazing. Right, everyone, we'll see you on Saturday. Take care. See you later.